Not to be outdone are our neighbors to the north in Canada. That's where Debi Facey files her weekly review of the news from that neck of the woods.
This is Debi Facey with Weed Talk News, coming at you with the Canadian Strain of the Week. So what we have in Canada this week is Burbs Cannabis. After all of their delays and the money spent, they have finally been able to open up their shop out in BC. And then it's also with the backing of the UBC University, which is not only great for them, but it's great for all of Vancouver. Next, what we have is the review of the Cannabis Canada's excess tax. The industry is once again asking for changes, especially when it comes to the affordability of their shops and products and having to deal with competitive pricing. That is something that I hope to be able to obviously keep you up to date with, and especially when it comes to any of the changing in the THC potency and the THC restrictions. And last but not least, in Toronto, we have the Health Canada asking for a review when it comes to the legalization of cannabis, period. We have some actually asking for it to be decriminalized, which I'm sorry to say I did not predict. I can't say I did not predict, due to the fact of the amount of drugs that we are trying to legalize all at once without the complete knowledge, understanding, and information on how it will affect not only us as adults, seniors, as well as our youth. This is Debi Facey with the Canadian Strain of the Week. Have a good one. Peace.
Back here in the U.S. and in Massachusetts, there is a new secret shopper tool being used by the Cannabis Control Commission to check on licensed operators. They're going to be checking on packaging, labeling, and the credibility of testing results. Unannounced inspections and visits under the cloak of anonymity is a tactic to make sure all dispensaries are in compliance. Another Massachusetts publicly traded company, Agrify, who provides cultivation and extraction solutions to the industry, announced that they have entered into an agreement with New England Edibles, doing a business as Soundview. A licensed operator in Bristol, Connecticut, Agrify will be providing hydrocarbon extraction systems, a vacuum oven package, a short distillation system, and a fume hood. One more Massachusetts note, Canna Provisions, one of the largest dispensary operations in Western Massachusetts, is moving from a privately owned operation to an employee-owned business model. In a news release, Canna Provisions explains that they want to make sure and ensure that their employees are not just a participant in the company's journey, but are key drivers in its future.
One of the biggest problems in the legal cannabis industry is the credibility of the lab testing of products. Many consumers mistakenly make their product buying decisions based on THC percentage in the flower. So that practice has led to falsifying percentages and backroom deals to ensure products will be sellable. Needless to say, this is concerning, especially to medical patients who look for a consistent cannabinoid profile and terpene descriptions to get the most accurate results from the products they depend on to help offset their medical diagnoses. Now it's happening in Oklahoma, where an independent laboratory analysis of 15 different strains bought at 3 different dispensaries found that THC percentages were inflated. Averages of the discrepancies in flower THC is about 24%, based on a report by National Public Radio. One of the most active and visible new markets for cannabis is in Nevada, and specifically in Las Vegas, which has enjoyed a flourishing industry featuring dozens of dispensaries and now even social clubs. Our new Nevada correspondent is Tina Tasaka, and here is her report for this week.
I'm Tina Tasaka with 420 Technologies with the Nevada Cannabis Report for Weed Talk News. Upon residency at the Virgin Casino in Las Vegas, the Wu-Tang Clan are off to other adventures. One of the founding members of the group has collaborated with Hash Story and Grower Circle and has launched a new brand of cannabis called Compliments of the Chef. Check weed maps and local Nevada dispensaries for availability. Planet 13, just off of the Las Vegas Strip, will have the grand opening of their consumption lounge, Dazed, on April 5th. Located inside the 112,000 square foot entertainment complex, the lounge will serve up a tasting menu with superior flower, concentrates, vapes, and crafted canna cocktails. This follows the opening of the recent Smoke and Mirrors Consumption Lounge, and one other is open downtown, Nuwu, a tribally owned entity with the Sky High Lounge and dispensary. The Nevada Chamber of Cannabis held its chamber meeting in Reno this week. It was a night to connect the cannabis chamber members to meet key figures in Nevada that are up for election in the areas of Senate and state assembly races. And speaking of the Nevada Chamber of Cannabis, the chamber also partnered this week with the MCBA Equity 26 City Tour that rolled into Las Vegas, sharing a 4-hour workshop benefiting anyone in the cannabis industry. The MCBA, Minority Cannabis Business Association, has built a coalition with so many cannabis associations, such as NORML from 1970, META, the Marijuana Industry Trade Association, the Chamber of Cannabis, and many more. The focus is to discuss social equity, diversity, and inclusion. So look for a tour coming to your city soon. I'm Tina Tasaka with 420 Technologies, reporting for Weed Talk News.
Labor unions continue to infiltrate the cannabis industry, and now the delivery driver workers from Ease in Sacramento, California, have joined the Teamsters to protect their rights as employees. This is the third group in California to unionize with the Teamsters, and I wonder what our attorney friend in Illinois, Thomas Howard of Cannabis Legalization News, thinks of the future of unions in the cannabis space. Here's an excerpt from Sunday's show on cannabis legalization.
We got some pot stocks.
Let's talk about the unions instead of the stocks.
Oh, you got
because the unions and the stocks are kind of the same sometimes.
Always.
But it's labor versus capital, and we're going to be reporting on labor a little bit. So you know who voted to unionize? Ease cannabis workers. They have joined the local 150 of what I believe is the International Brotherhood of Teamsters. So the delivery drivers at Ease, a multi-state cannabis delivery operator, unanimously voted to join Local 150.
Is that California or Chicago?
That is California, Sacramento. And so Nabis and Amuse workers in Cali have already joined the Teamsters. What do you think about unions and their effect on the cannabis industry?
Well, I'm pro-union most of the time, even though I've avoided a couple because I didn't like the way they were business. Because sometimes a union is just a business, and a union depends on like the unity of the people, right? Like I've
purportedly they are they're supposed to, but a union can be corrupted by bad management just as much as a company could be corrupted by bad management.
Exactly. Yeah. But I heard like what is it? The Callus. They're really anti-UFCW right now, and apparently he feels a victim by them. So I don't know. Yeah,
interesting. Well, they say they finally feel like they have a seat at the table. And so that is something that management needs to understand when they're cutting up the pie. That is equity. Has to be where your employees say comes in. And one of the things we might want, it's like to get operational, I want to do it on a shoestring budget because if you don't have money coming in, you shouldn't have money going out. That's just running a business 101,
Exactly.
And so you have to understand what your OpEx is going to be, and then you have to understand what your sales volume is going to be and your rapidity of that, and how well you can grow it. So it's going to be a fascinating thing.
That'll do it for this week's Weed Talk News. I'm Jimmy Young in Massachusetts.
I'm Karen Black in Arizona.
Remember, it's a whole new world of weed out there. Use it responsibly. Alaina Pinto will be back next week.
Some of the largest companies, as you mentioned, Tilton Weed Maps, Harborside, Green Solutions, Medicine Man, many of them have had successful exits. We've made good money in the industry. We want to now give back. We want to now help the small guy or gal that has an idea but doesn't have the friends and family, doesn't have the connections, doesn't have their own equity to contribute. We want to help those guys get into the industry, be able to, realize their dreams, be able to do something in addition to what it is they're currently doing now. This doesn't interfere with that. It's not an exclusive. And what we want to do is we want to help birth some new entrepreneurs, because you need capital to be able to do that.